Street. I'm your community ambassador, Mr. Robin J. Anderson. Get my disclaimer first. Politically Street is not politically endorsing podcast. We have information purpose only. We interview people doing styling things in our communities, like community leaders, business owners, and elected officials. All right. So with that being said, first off, man, Instagram has been a distant cousin.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, but I met this young lady. We somehow we got to talking. I saw that she was on a journey, something that I shared as well. But first off, Miss Brandi, tell me your last name again, Brandi.
You could just say Brandi Myasia.
Brandi Myasia.
Some people know me as Brandi. A lot of people know me as Myasia.
Okay, gotcha.
Brandi Myasia.
Miss Brandi Myasia, man.
Yes.
So we met on Instagram, man. But first, what I do, I like to get a background of where you come from, and then we just kind of go to where you are now.
Okay.
So, where'd you grow up?
Man, Third Ward. Woo. Third Ward, baby. Yeah, my grandparents lived in Third Ward.
Okay.
Always Third
Okay.
Ward. My mom and I, we moved around the city a little bit, so I got a little bit of Southwest in me,
Mm-hmm.
but always back home to Third Ward,
Okay.
Whenever we had to go back home, and
Gotcha.
kind of regroup and whatnot. So
Gotcha.
graduated from JY, whoop whoop, Jack Yates, represent, TSU.
All right, okay, that's enough of that. Prayer.
Did you go to TSU?
No, I didn't.
Ain't nothing but TSU. They had some funny.
But no, so from TSU, where was Miss Brandi? What happened to you after that? Well, how should I say? Jack Yates, TSU. What happened between TSU? What was your major in?
So I went to TSU as an architect major.
Okay.
I took drafting since middle school.
Okay.
And I actually did a program at Prairie View. So Prairie View's cool.
Okay,
it's
all right. HBC you love.
Yeah, for sure. When I was in high school, like between 9th and 10th grade, I spent the summer at Prairie View.
Okay.
And I worked in the architect department.
Okay.
And I was so good to where they let me do some filler-ins on some of the blueprints and stuff that the students and the people were working on. And I loved it, and I earned extra credit. So I was able to use those extra credits to get into a business program at my school. So I worked at Exxon as like after 11th grade, the summer after 11th grade, and now as a senior, I went to school half day. And I worked at Exxon, and that was in the 90s. I made like $15 an hour. I was balling. So, but that put me on a path that just let me know that, I was kind of, I had a set way about doing things, and I knew work. I knew how to work. I knew how to be resourceful. I knew how to be responsible. Went to TSU because my sister was in Philly. She wanted me to come to Penn State, and I got accepted, but I had a rocky, childhood. My mom was on drugs, unfortunately, and I moved out at 15. I first moved in with my grandmother and realized that because my mom was so loose and I didn't have a lot of rules at home, when I moved in with my grandmother, it became glaring. Like, you can't come in here at 3 in the morning. And I was like, oh, that's right. This is not mom's house, and stuff like that. So I got my own place because I didn't want to disrespect my grandmother.
At 15, you got your own place?
Right at 16, I got my own place.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. And
so my friend moved down with me. We got our own place because I knew how to pay bills because my mom wasn't doing that. I was tired of paying the bills and phone bill. If you want a phone, you got to pay it. If you want a phone, she would trick me into paying all the bills. And I was like, well, I didn't know how to do this already, And so, self-sufficient, 16, going to TSU. I graduated early at 16 because I just started school early. So, no, I graduated at 17. I remember being 17 years old at TSU campus. And everybody else was like 19 and stuff. I'm like, I didn't realize I was that young. But went to TSU for a couple of years, and then I moved out of the country. I moved to Belize for a couple of years.
Okay, wow.
I've had a life, I moved out of the country for a couple of years, and that was really an experience. It's something that really is my cornerstone. It's where I'm always trying to get back to. I'll be going at this month, actually. And
Gotcha. Yeah, shout out to Jay Prince. He bought some land out there in Belize, I think. So
Yes, he's been out there in Belize for a long time. He's not new to it, but he's been developing. He's bought an island. He bought an island a long time ago, so I guess he's really developing it.
Right.
He's probably buying more land. Shine.
I
The
know
one
Shine,
that took the blame and the protection from P. Diddy and J-Lo and they got shots in the club or whatever.
Right.
His father is the prime minister, so their prime minister of travel is like our president.
Gotcha.
And Shine was his father. Well, Shine is the son. His father was prime minister, so Shine has taken steps to go in that same direction now.
Gotcha.
And he came to the United States recently. After all those years, he hasn't been allowed to come back.
Yeah, they exiled him. I want to say exiled, but they basically
did.
deported him.
Yeah, basically. And so I see he's talking to Diddy, he's talking to Coca-Cola, and it's kind of a gift and a curse. It's like, yeah, I like that Shine is growing up and assuming his dad's role, even after all of that, you know, he's reaching his greatness, but I don't want all that Coca-Cola money in the lease.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to secure my land before they start digging into and put their claws into it.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Like the cost and stuff.
Yeah,
wow.
But so Belize, you know, came back, finished at TSU, and started teaching. And then I got my master's from U of H in educational psychology. I ended up switching my major from architecture to psychology.
So you smart.
I think I know a little something, you know.
Okay, we gotta talk off camera, but yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, I have a really long resume, especially in education. And so fast forward about 20 years in education is what I did. I started out as a teacher. Taught elementary, taught middle school was my favorite, Johnston Middle School. A lot of these, I won't say kids, but young adults that are out here now doing things like DJ Elevated from Soul Control and people like that, they went to the middle school that I taught at. They're like, hey, you Miss Allen. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. But I was a young teacher, you know, so it's good to see that. And now that I'm retired, you know, we share the story about, you know, and what happened. I had some health issues and was allowed to retire. I'm like in a whole new era of my life. I feel like I got 9 lives, and so now I'm just doing random stuff like selling vintage clothing and so I was doing random things like selling vintage clothing.
Right. So tell me where Daisies and Pancakes came from.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is how random selling vintage clothing happened. Okay. After I got sick, you know, I really focused on healing. Like before having the surgery, I think is how we met, right? And so you were kind of part of the tribe. Whenever you are going through something, it's really good to find a community to help support what you're going through, get advice, get testimonies, and really, you know, try to prepare my mindset for having this surgery. And it was great. It was great. And afterwards, I gave myself the same energy in healing. I didn't have to work anymore. You know, I retired from my job when I got sick, and that was a blessing. So I was just chilling, healing, getting better, feeling better. And my fiance came home one day. Neek, his brand is Curators of Dopeness. And he said, hey, babe, come with me. Come with me. Yeah, Curators of Dopeness. He has a really good story about it. He's doing your show, for real.
Come on through.
Come on, babe, do the show, do the podcast. So I remember, you know, laying one day and he came home and he said, hey babe, go thrifting with me. And I love thrifting. That's, you know, when you grow up poor, you learn how to thrift, right?
Yeah, I love
so we went thrifting, bought like maybe $20 worth of clothing, and went down to this thrift store where he was going to resell what he got. Because he told me he met this guy at this thrift store that he liked to thrift at, and he was like, man, you really find good stuff. You know, if you ever go shopping, you can be a buyer for us. And here are the things that we're looking for. So he gave him a list of, you know, how to really pick out great vintage clothing, what's good for sale, the things that they look for, and that's what we did. We took a bunch back, and it was a sneaker store that sold vintage. So I just fell in love when I got there.
Yeah, we definitely got to talk about it.
Yeah, so there was this pair of Jordan 3s, the black and cement. Those were my grails, like that's what I've always wanted. And they were my size. And the guy's over there, he dumps all these clothes on the counter, and he's counting through the clothes, and I don't really know what's going on. I'm just shopping like old Rocket stuff, old Oiler stuff, old Tommy Hilfiger.
I was looking for that 94, that shirt, man, that first championship.
Oh, we got one for you.
Okay, bet.
No, Neek, Curators of Dopeness. He's got it for you. I promise we have some at the house.
Okay.
And so, you know, next thing I know, I'm hearing some numbers go like, oh, you can get this much money in credit, or you can get this much money in cash. And I'm like, wait, what happened? What's been going on? And he's like, babe, you want these shoes? You want those Jordans? I was like, yeah. And he told the dude, like, yeah, we'll just take, you know, just ring them up. And I walked out there with a pair of Jordan 3s from $20 worth of thrift store. And I'm like, what the hell? And so that was his pitch. That's what he wanted. He's like, let's go into business.
Gotcha.
I'm like, yes, say less. Like, I'm down. I ain't got no job. Right. You know, I'm retired. I'm healing. I'm feeling better. All I got to do is lay in bed and type up some numbers and mess with clothes. Yes, let's do it. So we started. Our first pop-up was at the Sneaker Summit in Austin at South by Southwest. Great. We were just like, let's see if people like what we're buying.
I think I saw that. Yeah, I think we posted on Instagram.
Yeah. So it just started out great, and then, you know, fast forward, we're starting to do pop-ups on a regular basis. Hip Hop Vintage Flea Market here in Houston. We did regular events every other month in Atlanta, and his family lives in Atlanta, so it was really easy for us to take the business to Atlanta. We had a lot of friends in Atlanta, like Maya Bailey from 333 Peter Street. He's really big is forwarding the art scene, you know, in Atlanta, and he's right on the corner of where 2 Chainz Escobar Club is.
Gotcha.
He owns City of Ink Tattoos. It's a couple of locations and is directly connected to Black Ink, the reality show, tattoo show. So we were really in good company. We're meeting celebrities, we're meeting people that really like our stuff. We're shopping for people. We went and did a photo shoot down there once, and Nick's family lives there. So that's what kind of helped us. You know, we could store a little inventory, and we had a place to stay when we got there. Sometimes we get an Airbnb, but made a lot of money to travel. We went there every other month. We started doing Dallas and Austin as well. And just having a lot of fun. Was trying to go to LA and Chicago next, and COVID hit.
Wow.
So when he started the business, he was like, yeah, I want to start this business, babe. You should go into business with me. Mine, I'm going to call it Curators of Dopeness, which he has a really good story for the name. And he said, you should do the female line, the ladies line, and call it Daisies and Pancakes.
Gotcha.
And I was like, yes,
Perfect.
I love it. Because it's a name that I've had kind of in my mind for a long time, you know?
Gotcha. But what I was saying too, y'all, we're at Star King Cafe. Well, I sort of see the coffee logo in the back or whatnot. At Star King Cafe, we do coffee, pastries, and artwork. Artwork is going to be pretty much all of the quote-unquote Black artists here in the city or whatnot, or pretty much across the world as well. So every time you come to Star King, you're going to get an experience, you know. So when you mentioned the curator, yeah, we got to talk off camera.
Yeah, we got to talk. We've been talking for a long time. You've been helping me with advice and stuff.
Yeah. I forgot about skates. So let's talk about the skates. Cause I know that you, tell me how you got into skating. Cause I said, I've never skated my whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
crazy.
Back in 1986, I don't know, I was outside, somebody had a pair of skates and they were like the little plaques that kind of go forwards and backwards. I put on my shoe, and I couldn't move, so I just took them off and...
Yeah, it was not fun.
Not at all. So.
Now, it's crazy that you say that because it's so many people with skating exploding the way that it exploded. Everybody's like, I just want some skates, and they just want to run out and buy a cheap pair of skates really quickly. And it's not possible, especially during the COVID, they were all sold out.
Yes.
They get an experience like what you got. You run out, you buy a quick pair of skates. I saw someone post on one of the Facebook groups that shoe $9.99, it's a store. Right, it's a store, like shoes, all the shoes are $10.
I remember those, yeah.
They posted, they got skates here, and I was like cringing. Like, I don't want to be a skate snob, but I was like, I wanted to post like, no, do not get those skates. Because what happens is you get an experience like that. The equipment is faulty or not to the best quality, and it gives you a bad first experience. And you don't want to try it anymore, you know? So that's kind of how selling the skates came about. So like, first Daisies and Pancakes was vintage. It is still vintage. I do a lot of vintage. I even style a couple of local H-Town celebrities and stuff. And some Atlanta people too. I styled a couple of Atlanta people. And so it evolved. So what happened when COVID hit, we were about to go to Atlanta for another event and COVID hit. So it sat us down. And we're like, okay, we finally need to pivot and get our online sales up. So we took time with that. But just like everybody else that started working out outside, during COVID, I saw a skate video with the family. It was just us and the kids, you know, when the families got stuck in the house during quarantine, and we were lucky that we like each other, you know. So the kids was lit, you know. We all started taking sea moss. We quickly realized we can't give the kids too much sea moss because they were like literally jumping off the ceiling.
Yes.
They were lit. We started running, and we started just doing a bunch of good exercising, smoothies, all kind of healthy things we incorporated to keep our immunity up. And I saw a skate video on Instagram, and I was like, oh, I got some skates. So I dug out an old pair of skates, tried to skate in my cul-de-sac, and I was falling everywhere. I was like, I know I can skate better than this.
I'm not doing it.
Because I'm not a dancer, so I can't get out there and do a bunch of like dance moves on skates, but I'm a skater, and I've always skated and grew up skating. Fondren Great Skate. Back in the day, if you're from the Southwest, that was my spot.
I remember Stadium Bowl. I remember I remember those, but I never skated.
I have a vintage Stadium Bowl jacket. I'll show you the picture offline.
Wow.
Yes,
Okay.
I know my brother worked there, and he would take me there with him to work.
Wow. Okay.
And so anyway, yeah, so we got Lockwood, we got Almeida, you know what I'm saying, here in Houston. My husband was Fondren Great Skate. I skated, but I remember after the heart surgery, I took the kids skating. Like, my heart surgery was October, and this was December, like for the holiday, the break from school. And I remember sitting there realizing, oh, dang, I can't participate. Like, I can't skate. And after having heart surgery, you just feel real fragile.
Yeah.
And that chest is healing, and you don't want to fall. You don't want anything to impact your healing. And so I couldn't skate just yet. I was too tired to as well. And I remember just making kind of a lightweight goals. Like I would set goals for myself. Like I know when I skate again, I'm healed. You know, that's a growth marker for me. It's a progress monitor. And so, like I always said too, like I know when I do push-ups, I'm healed. Because I know my chest can handle it. That means I know I'm healed because my chest would hurt from the slightest thing sometimes. Still does. I can go skating right now and wake up and my chest be sore. Like, I don't know why. But
it could be the muscles too.
Yeah, it's probably muscles and all kinds of stuff. But it's still a marker. So when I got out there and skated, I remembered that, oh, wow, this was a goal I set for myself, you know, more than a year ago. And I'm out here doing it. Like, whoa, I just kind of fell in love with it, you know, because it was easier than running and all these different things.
God.
Yeah.
It's a movement too, man. I've had friends that's been in skating. Shout out to my, she's a good, Eastern Star sister of mine, Pamela. What's Pamela's last name? She was Baseman, Baseman's sister, but like she's really into it as well.
Really? I'd love to connect with her.
Yeah, but she's in Pittsburgh though.
Okay, still, yeah.
Yeah, I should take information.
We'll be Instagram cousins too.
Right.
That's how we Instagram cousins, you know?
But yeah, it's a real movement though.
So what happened, just like with COVID, when everybody took their workouts outside because the gyms and everything was closed, the same thing happened with skating. Because usually when you're in the rink with skating, you not really have your phone. You're just in there skating, you put your stuff in the locker and you go about your business. But when it came outside and basketball goals were down, people turned basketball courts into skating rinks. You know, and because everybody who would go skating, like skaters, like if you grew up in Houston especially and you went skating every week at Alameda or every week at Lockwood or twice a week, and this was your routine and then everything shut down, and you realize, wait, what's wrong? I need to go skating.
Right.
And you're like, I can't go to the rink, where can I skate? And so what happens is you start seeing everything is a skatable surface.
Right.
You see a smooth parking lot, you're like, oh, I can skate there. You see a tennis court, you're like, whoa, I wonder what it feels like to skate there. And so that's when you start seeing people post a lot of skate videos because they took their skating outside, and because social media was our comfort zone, you know, to stay connected in such a quarantine, strange time, people started recording and posting their videos, and what was already there just became viral. So a lot of people say it's coming back, but don't call it a comeback. Like it's
been here,
for years, you know. And so it's beautiful that it shined.
I agree.
So around the time I saw my first social media skating picture, a video, I got my skates. And realized I couldn't skate, found out that I could change the wheels. Now I went to school for architecture, so I have an engineer mind. I'm one of them kids that like to take stuff apart, put it together. I was the one that always set up the VCR and no alarm clocks at the house, you know, because I was good with stuff like that. And I took them apart. And I feel like when found out that you could take the wheels, my friend had taught me, was like, yeah, you can take all of this apart. So I immediately went to YouTube University.
Shout out to YouTube University.
Shout out to YouTube University. You know, use the phone. Don't let the phone use you.
Right.
You know, use Google. Use those things. They're out there for our knowledge. You know, not to consume us. We gotta consume it. So my fiance would come home. He's like, what are you watching? You know. And then he come home the next day, and I got like all these parts and skates, and I'm taking skates apart. And he's like, "What are you doing?" By like the third day, he sees me drilling into a pair of Air Jordans. He's like, "What?"
That's blasphemy, y'all. All the sneakerheads know that's blasphemy. All right.
I know. I have a pair of shoes that was in the living room when our friends came over, and he's like a serious sneakerhead. He's like, "What are you doing with those?" And I was like, "You know what I'm doing with those." My eyebrows lifted. He was like, no. He took them and put them in his bag. He took them. They weren't in his size. He just took them. As he thought he was liberating them or something, you know?
He was saving them, right?
His wife brought them back. Like, I don't know why he took your shoes. Girl, I'm sorry.
Wow.
And I was like, well, I guess I won't be turning these into skates because I just feel like the shoes will cry or something if I drill them. Like, they feel like people to him. But I really fell in love with it.
So let me ask, so you mentioned drilling. So when you drill it in, so do you feel that little that screw that in the ball of your foot? Like, how do you? No,
everything lays flat.
Okay.
Everything lays flat. The parts and the skate parts are attached to the bottom of the shoe.
Right.
But everything inside, it lays pretty flat, and your insole, you won't feel it.
Okay, good.
You don't feel it.
Yeah.
You don't feel it. And a lot of times, I even request that you get a really good gel insole anyway, because you know you're skating. Skating can be hard on the feet.
Gotcha.
When you first start skating, you know your feet might. You know, it's hard on your feet. You might not really like it. About 10 minutes into it, you forget about it, and your feet adjust. And that's the good thing about sneaker skates is that when skates sold out, skates are something that you want to try on. You know, just like a good shoe. You don't know your size just yet, or what size you should get. You know, sometimes you want to go a size up. Sometimes a size up feels too big. You might, depending on the shoe, right? All shoes fit differently. So what's good about sneaker skates is everybody knows their favorite sneaker.
Right, that's right.
So when somebody asks me, hey, I want a pair of skates, I don't know which shoe to get, my first question is, what's your favorite sneaker? Do you want high top or low?
Gotcha.
Most people want high tops because it's ankle support. Even though you can make skates out of low tops, it's a lot of low top skates.
That's maybe it's scary. I don't know. You gonna see
It
this kind
seems
of
scary, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
As far as support goes.
Yeah, but a lot of roller derby, people who started roller derby, those skates are low. And
They roll derby again too?
some jam skaters, which are the dance skaters, are low depending on their style because it gives them more agility in their ankles.
Gotcha. Okay.
A high top can be restricted.
Gotcha.
Now, depending on another style, the high top may protect because they do a lot of tricks that are in their skates where they're kind of like, they're not going in the sides of their skates. You have to see what I mean. Like they do all this fancy footwork, so their feet are kind of moving around in the skate, and so it gives them extra room to do the tricks that they do. It's really a preference. Some people like highs, some people like mids, some people like lows.
Right. My favorite movies is ATL and Roll Bounce. You know what I mean? So that was the only movies out, so they capture the skate culture.
Pretty much,
I mean?
yeah.
So,
there are a lot of documentaries out there. There's one called United Skates, and it's wonderful. It talks about the history of the skating rink and what it means to the black community, what skating means to the black community. My thing is, I have a quote, black skate is a revolutionary art. Actually, no. Black skate is a revolutionary act. And this documentary talks about it, you know, because almost anything we do that galvanizes us as a culture becomes a movement. You know, whenever we come together as a community too much and intimidate people, they want to stop it. So when people started like going to the rinks and finding solace in the rinks, and then there was more and more of us and more and more of us, and next thing you know, the rinks are full of us. Rinks weren't owned by us, so the owners were like, hold on, wait a minute, this is a little scary. Right. You know? Right. And so then they started trying to contain us or stop us or break us apart or whatever. And what it ended up becoming is they started looking, well, okay, so if all these black people are coming to skate, let's put them on their own night. Let's segregate it somehow. Let's give them a night. And it first used to be called Black Night, then it used to be called R&B Night, but now the code word is Adult Night. Gotcha. So if you any roller rink and you hear Adult Night, you already know it's going down. That's for us. Music gonna be swaggy. The skaters gonna be swaggy. You know, it's gonna have a different vibe to it. And so black skate is a revolutionary act because anything that motivates us is healthy. It provides great mental health support. You know, it provides community and family. And you think about the concept of roller skating is it's okay to fall. Somebody gonna help you back up.
I don't want to fall. I'm too old to fall now.
Yeah. First step in roller skate, like you say, you never learn how to roller skate. The first thing I would teach you is how to fall.
Gotcha.
Just like you want to teach your kids, right? You want to teach them how to fail. You got to set them up in scenarios to watch them fail, so you can guide them, hopefully, right?
Gotcha.
And the same thing in roller skating. The first thing we do is off skates. Just teach you how to fall.
Gotcha.
Teach you how to be okay with falling. Because we don't walk around naturally falling.
That's true.
But when you think about a baby, they do.
They do fall. That's right. You're right.
And they just roll into the fall. They don't resist it. They don't break any bones. Their bones are softer than ours. But we'll teach you that. That's what I usually do is like think about a baby and how a baby falls. A baby don't just boom fall real hard like a big piece of glass. They roll into their fall. They roll soft into their fall. And so we do practice falling.
Okay, Brandi, you convinced me. Okay, all right.
With the pads on, with the safety gear and stuff like that, because you have pads, you gotta know how to use them. So you might have the knee pad, you might have your elbow or hand pad, but if you fall and hit your head, then that's not gonna help you, right? Unless you have on a helmet. So we teach you how to fall first, and then we start teaching you the other steps, baby steps. But skating is something where you can come to the rink and never have skated before, and like 2 hours in, you like rolling. I won't say you're doing tricks, but you definitely rolling.
As long as I can roll, then I can go into the whole Michael Jordan dunks or something. You know what I'm saying?
It's really easy to learn though, almost like riding a bike. Like it's really hard to learn how to ride a bike.
Yeah, it is really, because you can't try to balance yourself on 2 wheels. Yeah, I agree.
But once you ride it, that one time when it finally clicks, you're unstoppable, right? Like you can do everything. And in one good day of bike riding, you can jump a curb, you can go faster, you can hit a corner, you know? Roller skating is like that. And it brings you childlike joy. Like, because you're just laughing. I did a party for Booker T. Washington. I did an end of the year skate party for them. And seniors in high school, I think they're mostly seniors, you know how they could be. Just never happy, you know? And it's COVID, so they really hate each other. And they don't want to touch each other or nothing. They got on those roller skates, and they were laughing and falling and helping each other up, and it was just a really great time, you know. And I've seen people come into a skating party or a skate event just kind of in a bad mood, and I personally in a bad mood. I go skating, I'm like, what was I tripping? What was I tripping on? Oh, that's right. I'm in such a better mood now. It really provides a lot of endorphins because it feels like you're flying, and it makes you feel like a kid.
Gotcha. So before we get out of here, where can everybody find you on Instagram, Facebook, websites, all that kind of good stuff?
Daisies and Pancakes everywhere. So Daisies is plural, DAISIES, and Pancakes. On Instagram, on Facebook.com, everywhere.
Okay. Gotcha.
And yeah, well, let me tell you how Daisies and Pancakes came about.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So when I was in college, when I was at TSU, you know, I always wore De La Soul Daisies.
She plugged TSU, shout out to PVU.
TSU.
Y'all took that L on Labor Day, but we're going to keep on moving, okay?
We still love TSU. It's okay, man. We're winning everywhere. Even when we losing, we're winning.
Just school spirit.
Third word high, you know. So at TSU, I always wear Daisies, De La Soul Daisies, and I always wanted to go to IHOP. And I was literally the only one with the car in my friend group. And again, you know, always disgruntled, cool. All my friends were always mad or hungover or mad about his class or didn't want to go, whatever the situation is. They were always so glum. And I'd come up smiling and bouncy like I am, like, hey guys, let's go eat pancakes. And they're like cutting their eyes at me like, it's not always Daisies and Pancakes, Myasia. And I'm like, why not? Like, that's what life should be about. Like, you know, it's an experience, it's a feeling. And so it's just a joke that's been, you know, amongst me and my friends for a long time, where they just call me Daisies and Pancakes, and sarcastically. And so when my fiance said, hey, you know, let's start this business, you should call the ladies line Daisies and Pancakes, it clicked.
It clicked, yeah.
And so it's become, and I was like, but Daisies and Pancakes is more than clothes, it's a movement, it's an experience. And so we started doing events, and so now that we're adding the skates to our list, we do skating events, we do free skate lessons, and I'm working with the city of Houston. I was first in Sunnyside with the free skate lessons.
Okay.
But what
we talked about that.
Yeah, well, what ended up happening since the last time we talked is I got into Sunnyside, I was able to provide the lessons there, and then we got shut down.
Wow.
Houston is not a skate-friendly city.
I see.
And I started realizing, you know, like you say, you had never skated before. And I know a lot of people in small towns that don't have a skating rink. They say they've never skated before. And it's a lot of people that's never skated when this is such a wonderful activity. Like, isn't it kind of strange if you heard somebody that says, I've never ridden a bike before?
Yeah.
It's a little strange, right? But it's not to say about roller skating. And I think that needs to change a little bit.
I agree.
Especially now we see how big it is. We see how much of an impact it's had on so many people and how it really helped a lot of people. You talk to anybody about quarantine and what roller skating helped them with and how it helped them deal with it, their anxiety, you know, their mental health, you know, the community that they built around it. People who were roller skating before were depressed without it. Roller derby couldn't resume during quarantine. They just started having competitions again.
Oh, wow.
You know, they were like, that was already their outlet. For whatever reason, they picked up roller derby, and then it was wiped away from them. So roller skating really has some powerful effects. But when you go to a basketball court where there are no basketball hoops up anyway, and people are kicking you off because you can't roller skate here, you're like, why can't I roller skate here? It's just concrete.
Right.
You know, or a tennis court where nobody's playing tennis, and like, why can't I roller skate here?
So it has to be a completely flat, so it can't be like asphalt in a sense. The asphalt kind of bumpy.
Asphalt can be bumpy, some asphalt can be smooth if it's freshly laid. You know, it can be really nice and smooth, but as long as it's smooth.
Okay.
As long as it's smooth. There are different wheels that you can get for different surfaces. So sometimes it might be skatable if you had different wheels. This is what I learned, that's how I first got into it. But where we were skating in Sunnyside in the gym, and that wood floor is perfect.
It's perfect. Oh yeah, smooth too. Just yeah.
So Sunnyside originally was kind of a dead community center. There wasn't a lot of activities and programs going on there. And when I talked to the director, she said, we're looking for something to do on Tuesday nights for adult fitness. And I was like, skate lessons, let's do it. Are you okay with us skating on the floor? And she said, we're supposed to renovate the floor anyway, fine.
Right on time.
But when somebody heard they heard that we were skating in the city of Houston, Parks and Recreation Department, they stopped us.
What?
We're not supposed to be skating there, we're not supposed to be skating in the floor. I mean, there was a few things. They talked about COVID too. But the joy that it brought, we had 4-year-olds there. We had a 67-year-old woman there that used to skate at Almeida. She was like, oh my God, I haven't skated in years. And she came and skated, you know, in about 2 hours.
Wow.
About 2 hours she skated.
Do you know a guy named Rashad Cave?
No, I don't.
You can meet Rashad Cave. I think when you have more the community behind it.
Yes.
Then
Yes.
Rashad Cave, Nora Rattler's out there. She a singer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does the garden that's down there.
That's it. Yeah.
I have been. Somebody did tell me to connect to him. So what I realized is the city of Houston isn't even that cool with skating. When you see a no skating sign somewhere at a basketball court or tennis court, it's usually referring to skateboarding. But skating is lumped into this big thing.
Yeah.
And I think the narrative needs to change. And I'm here to kind of change that narrative. So what happened is it created a lot of fuss when they told us we couldn't skate there anymore. Not by me, but the people, the site director was really upset.
Wow.
And I started getting emails. You know, she sent an email out. Black United Fund was our sponsor in partnership with them. They started sending emails out to the people at Parks and Recreation that said we couldn't do it anymore, and CCing all these people like Dr. Carolyn Shabazz, Dwight Boykins.
Man.
They started CCing these people, but what happened was they started replying to me. Like, we love what you're doing. You know, this is great. But it's just that skating's not allowed here. We're also worried about COVID. And so I would reply, you know, I'd have an opportunity to speak up for myself. So I'd reply and say, thank you for replying. Because, you know, I'm over here heartbroken that I got to stop a wonderful program. But I'm like, whoa, wait. I mean, I'm getting emails from these people. They're replying to me, you know. And I'm like, well, thank you for replying, but where can I skate? Where can we meet up and skate? If you're saying we can't skate here, you're not saying that we can't skate, period. Like, can we skate at these outdoor basketball courts?
Right.
You know, can we provide meetups? Can we make this an official thing? You know, we've done it for skateboarding. We've made skate parks and things like that and given them a place to skate. And they're saying, skate at the skate park, but the skate park is for skateboards.
Right.
Or for skaters who want to do those tricks.
Right.
Not just a
That's
flat
more dangerous
rink.
for skaters.
It's awesome for skaters, actually. I mean, yeah, it's dangerous for skateboarders too, but they wear gear. I mean, it's awesome. If you ever really watch it, it's super fun. So I won't, it's just there's so many different communities inside of skating. You got roller derby, you got park skaters, you got rink skaters and dance skaters, and you have trail skaters who, I have a friend that skates 10 miles every day at Dewson Park.
Wow.
And so you have different types of skaters. And so when we think about these communities, and we need different areas. So the city of Houston did say there are some trails that we can skate at, and I'm thinking that's great for the trail skaters. But for the rink skaters who can't go to the rink all the time, plus everybody who's skating now, the population has pretty much exploded by 50%. So we can't fit all these people in the rink on one adult night.
Right.
You want 300 people in the rink, or do you want my 60 people over here, you know, in their own night? You know what I'm saying? When we really talk about mitigating COVID numbers. And so we could take it outside, just tell me where.
Gotcha.
And so that conversation has started. So it was a heartbreak and kind of a disappointment and kind of a rude halt to what we had going on there. Has turned into a different conversation about what skating looks like in Houston. And the skate park that's downtown, and there's one in Missouri City, was actually spearheaded by a skateboarder named Dan McFarland. And I got in touch with him, and he gave me a lot of information, but the theme of his information was, forget the city of Houston, do it yourself.
Wow.
He brought all the money, so the park is named the Lee and Joel Jamel Skate Park.
Okay.
And one of those brothers was his client. He was giving him skate lessons. And I guess, you know, they were like, oh, this is fantastic. We need more safe spaces to skate in. You know, I'll donate the funds for a skate park. Dan McFarland got with the city of Houston. They loved it. They built the skate park. Didn't even invite him to the ribbon opening. The ribbon cutting. Hasn't included, won't even let him have lessons there.
Wow.
And this is what he was telling me. He was like, forget the skating. He said, I went through a lot of red tape. I went through a lot of heartache, years off my time. He said, I'm here to save you from that. Just do it yourself.
Yeah, we're going to talk offline about how we can get that going. Cause I actually want to show you something outside, but I'll show you in a minute. So, but like I said,
but Fort Bend has been great. So I have a new location. I'm waiting to get all my ducks in a row because when she offered it to me, I was so excited and I was just so eager. And we talked on a Thursday. And she's like, yeah, we can start it Tuesday. And I'm like, is there any paperwork to sign? She's like, no, we're just gonna do it. And I'm like, yo, let's do it. So now I'm taking my time. I'm like, oh, slow down.
All right, shout out to Fort Bend. You know, I don't be out there too often, but
yeah, let's get some paperwork, at least some emails back and forth to say that I did pursue proper permissions
Gotcha.
and got approval to be here. And now y'all changing your mind, that's a different story, but I did it the right way. So it comes with learning, you know, and I got a whole skate community behind me. Actually, somebody told me that I should, you know, release them and give them emails and phone numbers to call and stuff, but I'm going to be more strategic about that. Because when I did reply to those emails, I did get some friendly responses, and there's one person that was unfriendly about it. She just happens to be the assistant director of Parks and Recreation. But, you know, everybody else...
I'm not going to say her name.
No, we're not. Everybody else has been like, maybe you can skate here, maybe you can skate there. It is a wonderful program. We're sorry we had to stop it, but here are some of the suggestions. And so that's good. The conversation's going, and I'm happy with that.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Like I said, we can talk about skating for a long time.
Oh, it's a wonderful thing to talk about.
But so tell me, people where they can find you at. You got a website.
Daisiesandpancakes.com. DAISIES. Daisies and Pancakes on Instagram and Facebook. It's where I am.
Gotcha. So also, y'all make sure and go to my YouTube channel, subscribe. I got a donate button on my website, PalickaStreet.org. If you follow the movement, you want to get one of these nice shirts and whatnot. PalickaStreet.org. Go on there. I can send it to you. I'm on Instagram with Palicka Street, YouTube. I'm sorry, Facebook and Instagram is Palicka Street, and TikTok. I'm on TikTok as well. So I'm on there now. So either way, I appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, man.
No, it's been a long time. So it's been my Instagram cousin.
My Instagram cousin. Yes, I can't believe it's the first time meeting.
It's been 3 years.
You provided me so much support and knowledge, and oh man, I just yeah.
I appreciate it. I say, but until next time, y'all. Peace.